Good morning, YouTube. It is Trev. Terra Classic community, we have a functioning blockchain that's running. You can access Station, you can access your assets, and that is good to see when I woke up, because when I went to sleep, that's not what we had. So let me talk to you a little bit about kind of what transpired last night, and I'll try to keep it as concise as I can. So this is AtomScan, and Lunkburn Army is the one who actually told me about this, and this is where you can come to watch the block height. You can watch, you can see on the screen all the information that you can get about the Terra Classic chain, the Terra Classic network. So I was watching this because in order to do this update to version 1.1.0, we needed to reach a block height. And if you look at the square in the kind of the top right hand corner here that says 11,736,206 right now, we needed to reach a block height of 11,734,000. Once that happened, the chain we knew was going to halt, and the validators could not update to the new software until that halt happened. Did a live chat with Lunkburn Army and Tobias a few days back, and we talked about this, and they let me know that there were some things that the validators could actually do to prepare for it, kind of to, if you're making a cake, you can put the batter together, you know what I mean? Mix the eggs, mix the milk, mix the flour, whatever. And you can have that sitting there ready for the oven to reach 450 to shove it in, right? But you can get the batter ready ahead of time. So they could get this, like that, they could get this software together ahead of time and have it sitting there waiting for that block height, waiting for the halt. Once the halt happened, if they already had the batter mixed and ready, they could shove it in the oven, and that should have been all you needed to do, right? I was told it was a simple thing. I was told even if they didn't prepare the batter ahead of time, that even if they waited until the block height and just started doing everything then, it still wouldn't take that long, right? A matter of minutes, right? For them to actually prep it and do the update for the software. It wasn't supposed to be a long thing at all. And just earlier yesterday, I asked again. I said, okay, well, we're expecting the chain to halt, but you guys have been in contact with the validators and such. Is everybody ready? How long do we expect that this chain will be halted before everyone is updated and we get it going again? And I was told, maybe an hour, Nobody on the L1 task force thought that this was going to be a big deal at all. It was the equivalent of going to a doctor for an operation, and he tells you that this is it's a very common procedure. We do it all the time, right? We're not anticipating any complications at all. It should be an in and out kind of thing, right? That was what this was supposed to be. Well, last night I jumped on, decided very spontaneously to do a live stream because it was before 11,734,000 block height. And I was what I wanted to do, I was thinking, all right, I'll catch this for posterity, right? And I will watch it go from 11,739,000 something, or 33,000 something, in switch over, right? I got there too late. By the time I finally got my live stream going, it was like maybe 10:03, 10:02, 10:03 p.m. again, Eastern time, right? UTC time is 5 hours ahead of me. So by the time I got the live stream going, we had already, I missed it. We had already reached 11,734,000 and the chain was halted. I missed it by, I don't know, a minute or two, right? So somewhere around 10 o'clock Eastern time, or 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, UTC, the chain halted, okay? So time to put the batter in the oven. I come here and watch this, and I saw it change to 11,734,001, and I thought, okay, well, maybe the thing's going again, right? I'm waiting for it to go to 3, and it never went to 3. And if you watch this, you can see how fast that last digit actually changes. It's a matter of seconds, right? But it didn't happen. And so I jumped on the Discord of the validators to try to gauge what exactly was going on, and what I was reading wasn't instilling a lot of confidence. The guys were having a hard time reaching consensus, and anybody can correct me if I've got this wrong, because this technical stuff, I'm learning it as I go, right? But that's the good thing, is that I can relate to kind of the regular community member, because a lot of us don't understand this stuff, right? So as I learn it, I try to relay it to you, but I can always be corrected, because I can always have things a little off, and I usually do, right? So I believe, reaching consensus means that basically everything, these guys are synced up. You have a certain amount of validators who are synced, and I believe it takes 2/3 or something like that, a certain amount of voting power to reach consensus and get the chain running again, okay? That was supposed to happen relatively quickly. It wasn't happening. Questions were being asked by the validators, are we using the wrong version of this, the wrong version of Go? Should everybody using the same version? Is it 1.18? Is it blah, 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 blah? It was question after question after question, and nobody had any definitive answers. Now, Tobias wasn't in the chat. I don't even know if he's in the Discord, because very often he doesn't like to deal with, he leaves that for everybody else to deal with, right? I didn't see Frag in the chat. The only one that I saw in the chat was Ed. And, those other guys, they could have been sleeping. I mean, different time zones, right? Ed was in the chat, and Ed was trying his best to provide answers, but it was clear that Ed didn't really have many answers himself, which caught me a little by surprise, I'll be honest, because, again, this was supposed to be a simple thing, right? Long story short, I went to bed at like 3, this was from 10 o'clock in the evening to, I went to bed about 3:30 in the morning my time, and we still were halted. These guys were still asking questions. Should we do this? Should we do that? How do I do this? They're posting the error messages that they're getting. They're posting the code that they're seeing. They're posting all this stuff, and people are trying to answer the questions, but you got different answers coming in. At one point, Ed was like, hold on, let me try this, right? He wasn't sure what was going on. I woke up this morning, and the block heights were moving. The chain was running again. So I go to the chat, and it looks like somewhere, again, around my time, somewhere around maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, the chain finally started running again, right? So that's, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was like, maybe 6, 7, 8 hours that the block was, that the chain was down. Something that was supposed to take maybe an hour, right? Lessons were learned, right? Ultimately, when it was asked this morning by Strathcole what the problem was, ultimately what they I guess learned was that the problem was it wasn't the code itself, right? And that was questioned at a few points last night. Maybe the code itself just isn't right. Some people were suggesting maybe we stay with 1.0.5 for now until you guys can test this thing a little more and figure out what's going on with it, and then we'll try to update to 1.1 at another date, right? you know, but anyway, so when he asked what the problem was, ultimately what they figured out was that it wasn't the code. Basically, they just needed to wait. They needed to wait until there was enough voting power to reach consensus. Why nobody knew this, I don't know. I thought that was something that maybe should have been known. It would have been nice to see that answer come in, because what they were doing is they were trying to correct this, they were trying to correct that, they're restarting this, restarting that, and they were doing things that were actually standing in their own way, because they didn't know to just do the update and sit there and wait. Once they reached a certain voting power, right, that's when you could reach consensus, and that's when the block would start running again. They didn't know that. I'm not sure why they didn't know that, right? I haven't had an opportunity to actually talk to the guys, and I know that if I talk to the guys, I'm going to get the version that, accentuates the positive, right? And tries to downplay the fact that nobody had answers last night for hours and hours and hours. But that was the case, okay? Why was that? I don't know why that was. I don't know that we'll ever know why that was. Hopefully, lessons are learned moving forward, because we have a COSM-WASM upgrade to do at some point, and that's huge. Nobody's saying that this is a simple one and that it should only take an hour. Everybody's saying this is a huge one. So if we had all these problems with something that was supposed to be very simple and take an hour, are we prepared? Are we ready for this WASM? Is this going to go smoothly? I'll tell you, this better run like butter, because Binance is watching, right? Binance wanted to do the burn today, March 1st, according to the paper that they had put out a while back. It's something that they want to do at midnight. Well, at midnight, UTC, anyway, midnight, we hadn't even reached the block yet, right? So they were waiting, and they're watching, and they're waiting. I'm positive of it. How does this look to them, right? I don't know. I don't know how it looked to them that something that was very, very simple didn't really go down that way. I do have some flies on the wall, and I'm sure I will actually hear how it looked to them, and I will be happy to pass that information along. But yeah, this wasn't better go like butter, because if we have these kind of issues with something so simple, and we have issues with something like the WASM, that's a big, big deal. I got to talk to these guys and work with these guys every day, and I love them. I love everything that they do. And there's mutual admiration, but the unfortunate position that they put me in is a position where I have to kind of call it as I see it. I'm not going to sit and sugarcoat it and say, oh, everything was great, everything went wonderful, because that's not what happened. And it's my job in this position to let you, the community, know that this could have gone a lot better, right? But it didn't, and we probably want to know why, right? This I will say. Ed was, Tobias is the one that does Kung Fu, and, they learn to center themselves and stay calm and everything else. Ed was zen last night. Now, was he really internally zen? I have a feeling that he was probably a little frustrated, maybe even a little frantic and whatever. But he never portrayed that to anyone. All he portrayed was calm, steadfast determination to figure out what was going on, right? Even in the face of people questioning whether they even tested this enough, if there was something wrong with the code, he never lost his cool. He always stayed calm, gave information as he got it, let everybody know what he was doing, what he was trying, what they should do, right? This man, I think, undervalues that quality of himself, because without that last night, I think it would have been absolute chaos in that Discord, because it was approaching that anyway. And the only thing I think that held it together was the you know, the like snuggling up in a warm blanket, having Ed there with his very calm words. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to try that. We're going to, you know, this is, you know, right? If he ever questions his abilities or why he's needed here, he's absolutely needed here. And even though he didn't have answers, and I would like for him to have had some more answers, if it weren't for him, I might not have woken up to this thing running again. Okay, so kudos to him for that. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. If any more information comes up, we will talk about it. And I absolutely want to have the conversation with these guys as to what happened here. Why was this simple thing so difficult? And why did nobody know that all you had to do was sit back and wait? If it was that simple, why were we doing things that made it take longer than it should have taken, right? We need to have legitimate, not sugar-coated answers. I want legitimate answers to those things. I think the community deserves them, okay? It's all about transparency, right? All right, I'm going to leave it at that, and I will talk to you guys later, maybe about some other things. So, all right, ciao.